Okay, well, thanks so much for your inquiry and interest in the property up Indian Canyon, formerly the WETEC property, prior to that, the Willow Creek Mine property. I'm gonna give you a little bit of the particulars and then tell you a little bit about the history and where we're at with that currently. So as of the time of this recording, January of 2022, it's listed for $1,399,000, so $1.4 million basically. It's on 157 acres, built in 1996, a total of 53,700 square feet. The first main building is about 30,900 square feet, it has 22 offices, 3 storage rooms, 3 lounge areas, 3 locker rooms / bathrooms, a washroom, and that's just the main floor. Upstairs you have another bathroom, a large kitchen, a conference room, and then there's building number 2, which used to be the warehouse, which is about 10,700 square feet, it has 2 bathrooms and a bunch of offices. And the warehouse floor area is 31 by 86 feet. There's 6 offices and 2 conference rooms in that place. And then last but not least is building number 3, which was the maintenance building, total of 12,000 square feet. And it has a mechanic shop that includes 5 2-ton cranes, 1 50-ton crane. So lots of great possibilities, lots of opportunity there. There is a few issues, though, that I want to go over with you. And keep in mind, as I'm sharing this with you, this is going to be a 5 to 8 minute long video. This process has evolved over, oh my gosh, probably 16 months now. So this is a lot to take in all at once. It can be a little bit scary, but it's actually not as scary as you think. So here's the history. Number 1, about 2 years ago, one of the owners was out weed eating the property, taking the weeds down for insurance purposes, and there was a sinkhole. And she's like, holy cow, this is a problem. So they start investigating that, and in building number 3, the farthest east, there's around the same time, we don't know exactly the same time, but water started coming up through 2 of the conduits. And so they turned off the power to that building because, water power, not a great idea, right? So anyways, they determined that something happened, something big happened. And through, like I said, 16 months of investigation, we believe we have a very plausible plan of what happened. So first thing, Willow Creek was a very gassy mine, right? And that's obviously what caused it to meet its demise. And so further to the east, past the substation that you've probably looked at in the aerial photography, there was a big silo. We're talking 16 feet across, maybe even 20 feet big. Anyways, okay? And when they did the reclamation, they covered it with concrete, reinforced with rebar, 1 foot to 18 inches thick, covered it with earth. Well, along this same time that the sinkhole and the water coming up through the conduit was discovered, the top to that silo was gone, as in blown away, gone. So the rebar is bent upwards, meaning there was something that pushed it up. So we did a lot of investigating, a lot of hypothesizing, and we had lots of experts, lots and lots and lots of experts come to this property. And one of whom was a coal mine geologist for 45 plus years. And he said, I know you're gonna think I'm crazy, but it's not so uncommon for lightning to strike one of these openings. And he said, and if there was gas in there, the lightning would have ignited that. But what we believe happened is that was the genesis to what we're dealing with now. And that caused a situation, if you will, inside the mine where the pressure that explosion caused, we believe probably broke a seal in the mine. And the seal that we believe it broke was when Willow Creek was mining, back 100 years ago. When they coal mined, the mapping wasn't great. So Castle Gate number 2 sits about 800 feet above this mine. And they were mining, right? And the instrumentation wasn't great, so where they actually mined was a little bit of a mystery. Well, as as Castlegate is mining, they clip a test hole, a borehole, 8-inch borehole that was associated with Castlegate number 2. Castlegate number 2 is estimated to have 1 to 1.5 billion gallons of water in it. Well, when Willow Creek clipped this tube, it started gushing out 1,000 gallons a minute out of that. Or is it a second? Shoot, I can't remember. A lot of water, okay? Anyways, and so Willow Creek, obviously, they're in the business of mining coal, not in the business of, dealing with this issue. So their main intent, stop the flow, seal it off, move on and continue with our job, right? So they try a bunch of different things. The story goes that they finally got a pipe that they put down in there, put expanding grout in there with the gate valve open, let it harden, put more, let it harden, put more, let it harden, turned the valve and closed it. Success, it stopped. They built a seal, carried on with their mining operations. Willow Creek mine closes, they seal it off, but when they sealed it off, they didn't sever the conduits going into the mine. So whatever this event that started this, which we believe was a lightning strike, which caused tremendous pressure in the mine, which broke the seal, which has allowed water from Castlegate number 2 to start draining into and filling Willow Creek. Willow Creek wasn't supposed to fill for 55 years and 3 months. How did these engineers come up with this? And 3 months, that was the thing, but whatever. That's just a whole rabbit trail of randomness there. So anyways, we believe what's happening is Castlegate number 2 is filtering into Willow Creek number 2, Castlegate number 2 is filtering into Willow Creek, and that's where that water is coming and filling in through that tube. We also believe that that's what caused that sinkhole, was that initial rush of water, which is now stopped because they did fill the hole with 3 super dump trucks worth of material. It has settled, but it's probably normal settling because it's not like they compacted it when they put it in. They just dumped it to mitigate a gaping hole on the property, which was a liability, right? So here's what we've done to date with this water issue. We called MSHA, and they said, oh, sorry, we only have jurisdiction over active mines, and this wasn't an active mine. So we're like, okay, well, who do we call? So we call DOGM, Department of Oil, Gas, and Mining, and they said, ooh, sorry, we don't have jurisdiction because the reclamation is done, and we actually released the bond. Everything was great. So then but they said, if you're discharging water, you better get a hold of the state of Utah Division of Water Rights. We're like, okay. So we call them, and they say, oh, you need to stop. That's an illegal discharge. We're like, well, sure, we'd love to. That's a great idea, but it's like we're not capable of stopping this thing single-handedly. We need some expert help. We need some, input from the state, because ultimately they're the ones that release the bond. Therefore, ultimately, they should be the responsible party, right? And I'll get to that. And so, and keep in mind, this discovery, this conversation with MSHA, with DOGM, with the state of Division of Water Rights, and then back to DOGM, and back to the water rights, and back to the operators of the mine, to the owners of the mineral rights. This has taken place over 16 months, so this is a lot to take in, but it's evolved over a long period of time. So, rewinding back, we finally got DOGM to come out, and they said, oh, yeah, this is something we need to monitor. They've tested the water. It's not great quality water. I'm not going to sit there and fill up my water bottle and chug it, but it's not bad enough that we have to worry about discharging it, at least as of what we're sampling now. What we don't know is the conduit, because no one knows where the conduit goes, is the conduit filling with water because there's water pressure pushing it up, or is it into the mine and this is actually the exact water coming from the mine, or has it been filtered through the dirt and then coming up? So that's one of those unanswered questions that we should have answers to this spring. So DOGM goes and looks at all the reclamation work, talks to the crews, talks to the managers that were on site, looking, hoping, trying to find a a discrepancy, a error, a cover up in the documentation and the work that was done. And because right now they can't just re-exert authority over the property. They don't have that authority. And so they tried really hard to find a problem because they want to take back over jurisdiction and help solve this problem. Because what if, and this is the thing that it's a little scary, is what if Castlegate number 2 pushes through to Willow Creek, Willow Creek fills, the pressure builds, it breaks the seals on the mine portal, rushes into Willow Creek, to the Price River, to the Green River, to the Colorado River, and on downstream, and the water isn't okay, right? And as of now, the water is not a problem. It's not going to destroy an ecosystem from here to Colorado. However, we don't know exactly what that water is. So this spring, the state of Utah has funding to drill a borehole in the top of the mine to test that water and see what it is statically, so to speak. And then they're also going to redig the drainage ditch, and there's actually a drainage a pond to capture the mine water when the mine was operating that has filled in with silt over the years of rainstorm coming down. It's just filled in those. So they're going to redo that and get the water diverted, get the pipe severed to building number 3 so we can get that back up to operation. And they are looking to figure out how much pressure is in the mine, the quality of the water, so that they can then go to the legislature and get funding to fix the problem long term. They want to fix this problem. They don't want a black eye on Dogum because they are the ones that released the bond. They can't say we're responsible for it because states just don't do that. It's government. No one takes responsibility in the government, right? So, but they want to help. They want to avert this potential crisis. I don't believe it's a major thing because in the amount of time I've had the property listed, which is over a year now, the amount of water flow has been static. I mean, it hasn't been officially metered, but the amount of water bubbling up out of there where the puddles are has not expanded, hasn't contracted. It's been static. And we had some pretty good rainstorms this fall. Didn't change a bit. We went up there thinking, oh, here we go. Blub, 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 blub. Nothing of consequence. So anyways, there's the history on the building. The state of Utah is involved. The owner of the property is unfortunately liable if something crazy happened, but the state of Utah is looking and working very hard to help mitigate it. And so I don't think that there's a tremendous risk to a buyer. Of course, buyers, you need to assess that for yourself. I am no expert in that. I'm a salesman, not a mine water mitigation expert by any means. I've learned a whole lot, and I've shared with you 60% of what I've learned at least through this video. If you have other questions, give us a call. I can give you the contact for Haley at the Attorney General at Dogum to converse with. She's wonderful. She's a wealth of info. She's willing to share that info and bring everybody that wants to be up to speed. And so that said, thanks again for your interest. Let us know what other questions you have. It's a tremendous opportunity to get that kind of square footage for that price. There's a grundle of power. The substation is rated for 5.8 megawatts. That's a lot of power. There's only about 3.5 megawatts of capacity in the line, so you'd have to work with Rocky Mountain to get more power there, but it is possible to do so relatively easily anyways. So again, if you're interested in this property, we'd sure love to get with you, show you through it, and bring you up to speed on any other things that have transpired between the recording of this video and as we progress to mitigate this issue. As of now, everything's kind of just doing what it's doing without any change. It's been static. So anyways, thank you so much and look forward to helping you with this property.